Today, October 9th, Hurricane Milton is expected to make landfall in Florida. Florida just got hit with Hurricane Helene just within the past couple of weeks, and they're still recovering from that. I cannot imagine going through that right now. Personally, I've only had to really deal with one hurricane in my life. Growing up, I dealt with tornadoes and blizzards and icy roads. But I grew up in the north and did not have to deal with hurricanes until 2016 with Hurricane Matthew when it came towards Jacksonville, Florida. And even to this day, thinking about dealing with that makes me emotional. So I'm very thankful that I had the means and opportunity to get them out and myself out and all of our pets to safety while we rode out the storm. However, not everyone is able to do that. Not everyone has the means. I was incredibly lucky. We had paid off cars. I could afford the gas to drive for, I think I drove for like 24 hours straight in the span of like 2 days. And I have an incredible family that was able to put me up, and we were able to find a hotel where my grandmother and my aunt were more comfortable, that my parents covered. We had that scenario that set us up to be able to leave. But today, most Americans don't have $1,000 in their emergency fund. Most Americans can't just pick up and leave. Most Americans can't afford to spend thousands on a hotel or mass evacuation. And I really think that these past 2 hurricanes in a row hitting Florida really show that. This first clip talks about what a privilege it is to be able to evacuate. Pretty much emphasizing the amount of money it takes to be able to leave your home for 4 days, a week, however long it takes before it's safe to go back.
Y'all be like, y'all need to evacuate. Do y'all got evacuation money? Because I can't afford my rent here. You think I can afford to go somewhere else? It's not free to evacuate. Gas already high, and you talking about I need to get on the road, go somewhere, and I got to pay to go wherever I'm going. What are y'all talking about? Evacuate. You're not taking it serious. Baby, my bank account, I guess not taking it serious because I can't afford that.
Here's the thing, to be able to leave, it costs money. And so many people don't have that extra money, especially those that are living paycheck to paycheck. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you don't have an extra few $1,000s laying around to make sure your house is boarded up correctly, to spend all that money on gas, because yes, gas prices are going to go up during a time like this, but also there's a gas shortage during a time like this because so many people are trying to get on the road to leave. You have to pay for flights potentially, which those we've seen go up 200-300%. You have to pay for a hotel if you don't have family that you get to stay with. You need so many things to align for an evacuation to cost you little money. Either way, it's going to cost you at least a few $100s in gas, if not thousands, between gas, food, lodging, travel, everything. If you are lower income, if you are living paycheck to paycheck, if you don't have an emergency fund, you can't go anywhere. Is of Jane Carter, who is the mayor of Tampa, commenting on the evacuation.
If you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die.
That's the warning from a mayor in Florida as the state braces for its worst hurricane in 40 years. Hurricane Milton was upgraded from a Category 1 to a Category 5 overnight. That's the highest level. Winds of 140 miles an hour could be reached. It's the latest in a series of extreme weather events across the US.
This hurricane went up from a Cat 1 to a Cat 5. I believe they said in about 10 hours. In 10 hours, it went up from a Cat 1 to as worse as it could be. I believe this is the worst hurricane to hit Florida, I think they're saying 40 years. How can you prepare for that in that short amount of time? And when your mayor is telling you if you don't leave, you're going to die, I can't even imagine the amount of terror or even shame that you can't leave, that you are stuck there in your home without the means of being able to leave. I'm very sure Florida's in a state of emergency. I don't know what kind of funding is going towards this, but even if they're able to help the people try and leave, you still have crazy expensive hotels. You have really out of rooms. Whatever you're giving would not be enough for a family to safely leave in that short amount of time. So I'm just flabbergasted that she actually went on there and said that. Leave or die. So this next clip is someone commenting on what the mayor of Tampa said about evacuate or die. And again, some people don't have that option.
It is actually insane to me and so fucking terrifying that the mayor of Tampa got on the internet. She got on national TV and said, if you don't evacuate, you're going to die. President Biden himself has said, this is life or death, evacuate or die. And yet there has been literally nothing about the incarcerated people stuck in Florida. Why did I literally just see a post of like a prison being like, oh, inmates, incarcerated people helping clear up the projectiles, without any dialogue about what's going to happen to them when the hurricane actually hits? Or have we forgotten what happened with Hurricane Katrina, where they literally left inmates to drown floor by floor by floor after the floodwater came in? Mind you, saying this is a matter of life or death and then not offering any kind of material assistance for people, not actually helping pay for flights, is fucking insane. Because I haven't forgotten about the $750 per family to help the last hurricane that literally just hit. People can't afford to evacuate. People can't afford to miss a day of work to evacuate. People can't afford hotel rooms or the tickets to get out. I've seen videos on my For You page of people attempting to book flights and the flight price literally doubles or the flight gets cancelled. Like they are literally price gouging in the middle of a natural disaster. All of this is so scary to me because meteorologists are getting on TV and saying, literally crying, saying this is mathematically the strongest that the hurricane could possibly be. Mathematically, with the way the Earth's atmosphere is and the rise of the sea temperatures, this is literally the strongest it could be right now for the entirety of the Earth. And you're getting online and saying, oh, it's life or death, evacuate, and then not actually helping people evacuate, not offering material assistance, not actually coming and flying people out, and leaving incarcerated people in jail indefinitely.
So you're saying the scary words on TV, on the internet, but not offering your people a way to actually get out? I did see one clip where it was talking about if you could just go like 5 miles inland, it'll drastically help you. Okay, pretty sure if you just go 5 miles inland, those places would already be booked. Those places would already be full up. Where are you going? And she brought up the inmates cleaning the projectiles. So when you see videos of people like throwing their like patio furniture into their pool, it is to try and stop those items from flying about and hitting people, damaging property, like making things worse. But since the last hurricane, have they had time to clean all those items up? But they're probably still just everywhere, which means there's even more items out that could hurt people or damage property or just make this so much worse than predicting. If you guys know of any resources or assistance things that could help the people that will be affected by this, please leave them down below, so in case anyone comes across this video, they can help. I'm gonna look, see if I can find any, and if I can, I'll put them in the description down below.
Do you want the bad news or the even worse news first? Let's start with the bad news. There's another hurricane coming to Florida. Yep, same area that was just hit really, really bad. My house is included in the area. The really, really bad news is that when there is a flood, you have to take everything that was contaminated out of your house. So it is sewage water that is flooding up into everyone's homes. It comes up from the pipes and then it floods everywhere, okay? It's a really bad water. So any furniture that you had in your house needs to be disposed of. So every single house in my neighborhood and surrounding areas has all of their furniture that they've ever owned, anything that they've ever owned that got wet, that was above 4 feet, is on the street. The city has not had time to collect everything. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of items, you know what I mean? Like, obviously they can't collect it all. The worst thing for a hurricane is to have something called projectiles. Projectiles is why I threw my pool furniture into the pool so that they don't fly around and hit other people's windows. But now that everyone's furniture is on the sides of the streets, I don't think there could be a worse situation for another hurricane coming to my area other than it does seem like it's weaker than the last one.
Now, I'm pretty sure when that creator made this video, it was still a Cat 1. It was not at the Cat 5 that it is now. But that is a big concern. The city and the state has not had time to clean up all of those contaminated items, which means they're just sitting on the curb waiting to be picked up. you're not going to go take them again and put them back in the pool or try and figure that out. Because one, do you have time? Because it's like overnight gone from a Cat 1 to a Cat 5. All those items are just sitting out there, which means now this storm is going to come in and those items have nothing from stopping them from going everywhere and damaging so much stuff.
Before you ask why we're not evacuating, I need everybody to understand that the price gouging has gotten out of hand. It is disgusting. A 4-night stay in Tallahassee, which is the only place that actually has a hotel available right now, every place is sold out almost from like Ocala all the way up, like past through Gainesville. Anyways, Tallahassee, a 4-night stay. Yeah, this is what it's running you. This is what it's running you. This is like the only thing that's available right now. We're not evacuating. We do have family we can go to if it did get that bad, but I feel for those people who are on the road just seeking shelter and do not want to stay inside of a shelter, because this is what you're looking at. And then like on top of that, $4 a gallon, like $4 a gallon for gas, like that's insane. Like I do not trust these politicians and how they're going to support us after we have to go through this as a state, because I really keep looking at how they treated Hawaii when they had those brush fires, and the whole, like all of Hawaii was almost gone. They gave them $700 and told them, make your whole family make do with $700. I can only imagine what they're about to get ready to do to us, like as a state.
Now, I don't know which hotel she was looking at. I guess depending on where you are and the rating of the hotel, $250 a night might not be that bad. However, on a whim, how many people can go spend over $1,000 on a hotel room? How many people can spend really over that, because gas and then food on the road, and who knows, if you forgot something, you gotta go and replace it. It's gonna cost a lot more than $1,000 to evacuate for those 4 days, which certainly wouldn't cover that $700 that she was talking about, which I believe was for Hawaii. It's not the biggest issue here, but it is a big issue that people cannot afford to leave. The choice has been made for them because they don't have the funds to evacuate. Even if you have family, like what I did, and I had family about a 10-hour drive away, if I didn't have the money for the gas to get there, and let's say my family didn't have the money to send me to help me get gas, I would have been stuck. I would have been hunkered down in that house by myself. Not everyone has that support. Not everyone has those means. So I am very curious as to what our country and the state of Florida are going to do to help rebuild and to help their citizens. This last clip is of a Miami meteorologist. I'm just going to play it for you guys.
Might have seen this today, an emotional report from the NBC Miami meteorologist and hurricane specialist, John Morales. He was being interviewed live today when the news crossed that the storm had grown explosively into a Category 5. Watch.
We want to begin with hurricane specialist John Morales. John, now this monster of a hurricane is a Category 5?
Yes, that news just came out right now, and it's certainly, it's just an incredible hurricane. It has dropped 50 millibars in 10 hours. I apologize. This is just horrific. Maximum sustained winds are 160 miles per hour, and it is just gaining strength in the Gulf of Mexico, where you can imagine the winds. I mean, the seas are just so incredibly hot, record hot, as you might imagine. You know what's driving that. I don't need to tell you. Global warming, climate change, leading to this and becoming an increasing threat.
You gotta know things are gonna be real bad when your weatherman is crying on TV with the news of the changes. My heart goes out to everyone in Florida and everyone who's being affected by these hurricanes and really all the disasters that have been happening lately. Well, thank you guys for joining me this morning. If you're in that area being affected, my heart goes out to you. I hope you and your family and your loved ones are safe. If you do not have the means or the ability to find a hotel or a shelter or something where you can stay and evacuate. I know Alabama, I believe it was yesterday, announced that they're opening all of their state national parks. This will be free for you and your family to stay there in an RV or in your car. I know it's not ideal, but it is an option. I'm going to leave a link to that down below in my description box. You do have to, from what I read, like register where you're going to be. It is all the way through the state of Alabama, so hopefully you're able to find something if that is something you and your family needs, or if you want to share it with someone else that could use that. I hope everyone is staying safe, and we will see you all on the next one. Bye.